Hey gang, what's up? Welcome back here to today's episode of The Fishing Teacher, and really appreciate you guys spending some time with me and checking today's video out. Guys, today we're going to be talking about red lures, when they work the best, under what conditions they work good in, give you guys some good juice on that. If you guys haven't used red very much, I can sort of get you pointed in the right direction in today's video. Also guys, I will put in my Tackle Warehouse links in the description of this video, I'll put some of my favorite red lures in there that work really good in the early spring, which we have coming up just right around the corner here. If you guys want to give that a try, so much appreciated. Okay guys, when do you want to use a red lure out there? Now, first of all, bass, they're gonna hit any color at any given time. It's like that's, you know, a bass is a predator, so, you know, color makes a big difference, but at times it doesn't make a big difference. And at times it makes more of a big difference than any other factor out there. And one of those times that red is really, really productive is in the early spring. It's like, you know, anywhere between like February and late March is the prime period for red. Now, I don't really understand why this is, because I have tried red. When you talk about, you know, crankbaits and red lures out there, I've caught so many fish on them during the pre-spawn period of the year that I just thought they'd be good all the time. But I can't hardly catch any fish on red baits after about May. It's like, it seems like to me there's a dead period from about May until maybe November when I just don't catch many fish on them for whatever reason. Now, there's some theories behind that. And, you know, obviously when you're talking about red, you're talking about fish that are keen on crawdads, since crawdads tend to be, you know, red, brown, black, you know, different shades. But I think a lot of times one of the theories behind it is a red crankbait or something like that works good in the pre-spawn, because maybe that's the shade of some of the crawdads out there. Maybe they're keen on crawdads because they need more protein to build up egg sacs. But that is one theory I've heard that I don't necessarily agree with. And I'll give you guys one example here. I was fishing a tournament out at Lake Mead several years ago. And in practice, like every bass that I caught on one day of practice there, they had these bright red they had been eating crawdads, and they had about 2 out of every 3 bass I caught. You know, when you hooked them, they'd have these crawdads sticking out of their throats, the pinchers, and these pinchers would be bright red. I'm talking about the whole pincher was just like red fingernail polish. And I said, well, that's a no-brainer. I'm just gonna tie me up a red jig or put some red color on my lures out there and I'm gonna catch them. It didn't work. When I switched to red and when I tried to imitate those crawdad colors, I didn't catch any fish on it. So that's just sort of one of those mysteries in fishing. But regardless, a truth in fishing, it's not a mystery, is that red works good in the pre-spawn period of the year under the right conditions. Now here's what you need to have, and primarily you're talking about 2 different lure categories. You're talking about crankbaits, you know, whether it be just a lipped crankbait like this, or maybe a flat side crankbait, and then you're talking about vibrating lures. Either a vibrating crankbait or a diving crankbait in red are the 2 prime things. Now, some people use red like on chatterbaits and, you know, jigs a little bit, but for the most part, you're gonna get your best success on red lipless crankbaits or red diving crankbaits. Here is what you need to look for. To me, red is all about getting that perfect water clarity in there. Now you would think because red is like, you know, some type of a bright color that it works good in stained water. Guys, I haven't done that great in red if the water visibility is too stained. So say for example, if I have water visibility that's say less than 15 inches, you know, colored water, even that time of year, red is not that productive for me. I usually do better on some type of a fire tiger or even some type of a flat, whiter type of shad color. But when you get water clarity in that range of about, say, 3.5 to 6 feet, that is when red really works good. And if you gave me an ideal water clarity to fish a red crankbait in, I would say around 4 foot clarity, which is pretty clear. Now, some of the reds are different, guys, because you have some reds that they can be translucent, and some of them can just be flat like that. So the shade or the tint of red has a lot to do with matching your water clarity. So if you're in water that's real clear, like that water visibility of over 4 foot, try to go with some type of a crawfish pattern in red that's a little bit translucent to it. And if you're in a little bit more off-colored water, you know, down in sort of in that 2 to 3 foot range, fish more of the flat colored red sides. Another consideration with red is a really good color to fish during lower light conditions. So I really like those days where you have some wind or clouds in correlation with the water temperature using red. So if you guys gave me like an ideal scenario, I'll give you all the conditions that need to sort of come into play for red to work good. Number one, you have to have water temperatures sort of in the upper 40s to mid 50s. I would like 48 to 57 degrees is sort of that range that I have found that it works best in. Again, accompanied up with that water visibility, sort of in that 3.5 to 6 foot range, with some clouds, like at least 75% overcast. I prefer completely cloudy, and some type of a wind. Doesn't have to be strong wind, but just something to break that surface, smooth just the surface activity up a little bit. And those are the ideal scenarios with it. Typical pre-spawn, not cleaner water fishing, I guess you'd call it. A couple of different other things with it. You will find out in rocky lakes a little bit, lakes that have a lot of rock, gravel, that type of stuff. Typical man-made impoundments, that you're going to catch a few more fish on the more translucent, a little bit subtle color of a red. And if you fish a grass lake, like a lake that has a lot of hydrilla or milfoil in it, specifically down south, Texas, Florida, TVA lakes, then the little bit more flatter color red works really good on it. But that's the window, guys. It's pretty simple. It's like, I have quite a few red lures out there, and I pretty much limit them to February to late March. Coming up right now, I'm going to be tying a bunch of them on. A lot of people also use red in correlation with orange, and that's a really good setup too. I do like orange and red together a little bit, especially if the water's a little bit more off-colored. But when it comes to just straight red without any orange on it as a secondary color, I really like that little bit cleaner water. It just seems like those fish react to it a lot better. So anyway, guys, give it a try. I'll link some of my favorite red crankbaits in the description of the video and my Tackle Warehouse link. Give them a try, see what you think. See y'all later.